Hello, you're very welcome along to the Matchbook Weekend Football Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Hussey, joined as always by Mark O'Haire and Adrian Clarke. And we are basking in a quite decent game week one. Mark and Adrian both landed their best bets. And we don't like blowing the trumpets too much, but Adrian landed a 7.8 shot, Fulham to win at Goodison and under 2.5 goals. Beautifully calling Everton just simply can't score at Goodison Park. I think it was 16 and 19 from memory last season, Adrian. So, fantastic shout.
Oh no, I'm very happy. I was on a train when it was happening, and I was when the final score came in. I sort of punched the air with delight. They must have thought I was a little bit crazy, the people around me. But yeah, no, I was chuffed with that one. Let's see if we can go again.
Yeah, Mark wasn't a million miles away from the long shot either. So high hopes for this week. And yeah, Adrian, as I said, a couple of comments came in from listeners. Keep those comments coming over the weekend. We love hearing from you guys. And before we get going, do hit that like button on YouTube if you're watching there and subscribe for free to the channel. It's the perfect way to keep up, stay in touch when we go live as well. And of course, it's available as always in your podcast feeds. Shout out to all the listeners there. As always, we pick 4 marquee games from the Premier League. The guys cover any other bets. A couple of European shouts from Mark this week and some interesting long shots and best bets. So let's get into it. We will start with probably the game of the weekend, although there's a case for maybe the 8 o'clock fixture, but it's Tottenham at home to Manchester United. We take a look at the betting that we currently have at matchbook.com. You can back Tottenham 2.98, Manchester United favourites 2.48. The draw currently 3.75. Both teams to score, yes, is heavily favoured in that market at 1.59. The Asian handicap line sees Tottenham get a quarter of a goal head start here at around about 1.82. And the goal line here is 2.5. But that's a good bit shaded towards the over. So look, Adrian, you had a week. I think you put up 7 selections in total last week. 5 of them won. So no pressure on you opening the show here. Tottenham versus Manchester United.
Right, yeah. No, that was good then. Yeah, no, pleased with that. Difficult game to call, this one, I think. I want goals. I want to be on side with goals. I wanted both teams to score. Too short. I wanted over 2.5. It's too short. So I've tried to find another way in. I just think that Spurs are a work in progress. I think they did okay at Brentford, but high line, I thought, got exposed quite a few times by Brentford. And when I think about Manchester United with Rashford and Garnacho in particular, absolute lightning, aren't they? And I just feel that Manchester United can make hay in behind. We know that Tottenham will press under Postecoglou and they'll squeeze up, different to before, clearly, in terms of their approach. But Spurs can certainly score against Manchester United. Looking at how lucky, how jammy Manchester United were against Wolves. I mean, they carved out so many opportunities, didn't they, at Old Trafford? And that's got to be a concern for Erik ten Hag, hasn't it? So yeah, I think that both teams to score is a very live shout, as is overs. But for the purposes of here, it is too skinny. So I've looked at Manchester United. I think there will be a reaction. Look, if I play for Ten Hag and I put on a performance like that, I'd make sure I was a lot better next time. And because he's not one to mess around, and I think there will be a reaction from Manchester United. There's no way they can be that bad again. So I think they'll take it to Spurs, and they will cause them problems. Now I've looked at Spurs from last season at home to the top 9 last season when they played quite defensively. They conceded at least 2 in 6 of 8 games at home to the top 9. So when the best teams come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they've had a habit of conceding multiple goals. Manchester United have scored a lot against Manchester United in recent meetings as well. 13 across the last 5 fixtures, home and away, against Tottenham Hotspur. They've been a team that they've not found it too difficult to break down. So I've looked at Manchester United in isolation here, and I want to back them to score 2 goals or more. So plus 1.5 goals. We can get a price of around 1.9 on that. And just looking at Spurs and the new look defence, you got new goalkeeper, new centre half, attacking style of play, high line. I just think that United can score a couple at least in this game. So that's the route I'm going down. Be interesting to see what this United performance is like, because Ten Hag will not tolerate a repeat. No chance of that.
No, very interesting play there, Adrian, on perhaps a Manchester United reaction. And Mark, it was your best bet, Manchester United, and under 4.5 goals. And it was Onana decision away of being bust. But you got to take them when they come, Mark. But your assessment at that game, because it's easy to say, oh, United were terrible, Wolves were very good. Is that your assessment overall, or were there any positives to take from Manchester United front?
Not many. You don't want to overreact to one game, especially the opening game of the season. And in fact, that's a really terrible policy to take when you're trying to bet, really, by overreacting to just one game. As I say, especially the opening game. But they were really, really unimpressive. A thing that struck me mostly about the game for United wasn't anything systematic or tactically. It was actually just the physical nature of United's performance. Wolves looked fitter and sharper and physically superior in almost every facet. And United at times looked really lackadaisical, inaccurate, sluggish. I'm not sure that can be fixed overnight. I think, they looked a couple of weeks off the pace there, and I might be totally wrong on that sense, and they might come out all guns blazing here and blow Spurs away. It's a distinct possibility, but I thought the result, as everyone did, was incredibly kind on them, especially that sort of non-awardal of the penalty. They got away with one, really, and Ten Hag admitted they were lacking in a number of key areas. They need an immediate reaction, an immediate improvement. Obviously, it's possible, but I don't know. I kind of go back to United's record on the road last season under Ten Hag, a similar squad, basically very similar 11. They took 1 point away from the top 9. They conceded multiple goals in 7 of those 8 winless away days, conceding 28 goals. So I'm not certain they're going to turn around or turn the corner straight away. Like Adrian, I really wanted to have goals in this game. There was an opportunity to back over 2.5 goals at 1.7 on Tuesday morning. That's gone. I doubt we'll get it back. Obviously 1.7 is right on the threshold for what we would deem a reasonable angle here. But from a Spurs perspective, I think, I opposed them on week 1 for various reasons, really. The line moved massively in my direction, but that was more so due to Harry Kane's departure. But I thought they were much better than I possibly anticipated, much further down the road than I thought they could be under Ange Ball. They were the most passive team in the Premier League last year under Antonio Conte, bottom of the league for high turnovers. But we could see from the first whistle, pressing is key for Postecoglou and Spurs this season. I thought Maddison had a good game in and out of possession. I think we saw the better side of Bissouma in the midfield engine room. The only negative I probably had was with Charlison's lack of influence. Spurs had 70% of the ball and 18 shots, and he didn't really have a major involvement. So I think they'll be fun. Absolutely high risk, high reward strategy with that high press and the high line. That is a concern with Rashford, Anthony, Sancho, etc. But I just think, they were far too easy to play against last season. That's always the concern, that they don't turn the corner immediately. But I saw enough signs against Brentford to suggest that they can give United a decent game. If United are off the pace again, then I think Spurs will play on the front foot, score a couple of goals themselves. But obviously overs would be the dream selection here. If we got above 1.7, it's probably not going to happen. So I thought Spurs plus quarter goal on the Asian handicap at 1.82 was fair enough, considering what we know about United from last season and how they started this time around as well. So obviously you need United to win this match for our bet not to make money. So that appealed to me, but it's certainly not my strongest play. Any sort of combination of goals would be, but that's not possible on Matchbook.
Okay, yeah. If you do want that goals line, perhaps look at Adrian's bet. Look, personally, I was very impressed with Maddison and Bissouma. So for the podcast bet here, I'm going to lean towards Mark in the plus a quarter goal. That's available on Matchbook. Manchester United Spurs, plus 0.0/0.5. Half your stake on draw no bet and half your stake on plus 0.5. Effectively double chance there. So that's the tentative selection for the podcast bet. But I'm really looking forward to Tottenham versus Manchester United Saturday 5:30, and the second game on Saturday is a game that should have been at 12:30 here.